Greetings, and welcome to another edition of Here to Help You. My name is Dave Rankin. As you can tell, I'm all by myself this week. In fact, I'll be by myself for the next little while my queen, the lovely Simone Jennifer Smith, is away on vacation. I know, right? I know. Big up Anisha, our lovely producer, always making sure that not only that we look good, but making sure, of course, the information is wonderful and presented in a manner that everybody can understand. For the next little while, I figured that, we'd try a few things, especially with today's show. What we're simply looking at doing today is looking at current affairs that will be affecting us as Africans all over the world, so globally. I won't be trying to focus on too many negative things. However, though, I'm really looking at very impactful items, very impactful news, right? Which go ahead and actually affects us in whether a positive manner or could affect us in a negative manner, right? Outside of that, we're looking at, of course, implementing some teaching tips here and then. Maybe we'll do that for next week. I would love to go ahead and get an African History Weekend. And don't forget my man, Lawrence E. Kerr. Lawrence E. Kerr. Let me go ahead and repeat that once again. Lawrence E. Kerr. He's going to be here in the studio. Probably closer to the end of the month, so we can go ahead, and as brothers, go ahead and help each other out, and by means, once again, present the information to everybody. Shout out to Grant sneaking into the studio, not making any noise. He's over there trying to be a church mouse, but I hear you loud and clear. So let's get started into today's show. So we want to go ahead and start off today's show by highlighting our first impactful news. Welfare reform. Now, the federal government has stated that they will be going ahead and making some changes to the welfare program. And in fact, they said they were going to be making some changes sometime this week. They're kind of hush-hush in regards to which day they will be going ahead and making their noise. However, though, this is something that we can look at in regards to being very impactful to our society. In a news article that I looked at CBC, in fact, it stated that Premier Doug Ford's government is about to reform social assistance in Ontario, raising the kind of fears of sweeping cuts as well that could make it as horrible as the last time the Conservatives were in power. And the last time we're talking about, of course, is when Michael Harris was in power at that point in time. Let's go into, in fact, the first video so we can go ahead and actually show the people what they may be expecting.
Too many people are being trapped by the current system, and this cycle of dependence is having a negative effect on the people the program is actually supposed to support. Our plan will help get people back to work and help them keep working. It will support people with disabilities to work when they are able and participate in their communities. These efforts will go hand in hand with our existing efforts to make life more affordable for people in need. While we're working on our new plan, on compassionate grounds, we're going to raise rates by 1.5% across the board to help those with the cost of living. This will replace the patchwork of handouts and regulatory changes that were included in the Liberals' final days. We're also going to wind down the Ontario Basic Income Research Project, which is clearly not the answer for Ontario families. And we're going to continue to deliver on the promises we made to the people of Ontario: lowering hydro rates, scrapping the carbon tax, and cutting gas prices by 10 cents a litre.
So, as we can see, Lisa McLeod, she in fact is in charge of making those reforms or cuts, in fact, which are going to be impacting close to 1 million men, women, and children in this province, right? Through the province's two welfare programs, Ontario Works and the Ontario Disability Support Program, according to the latest provincial figures, the annual social assistance tab, including drug benefits, they currently top about $10 billion. So we can understand why they would go ahead and want to go ahead and make some cuts, especially since that was pretty much the earmark of Doug Ford's campaign speech, or one of his campaign items, is that he wants to go ahead and balance the books, right? If this is going to be any indication of what happened during the Mike Harris years. We're in for some tough years ahead of us. I know personally some people definitely have been affected, like many of our viewers, here in this province who known and in fact maybe even still be continue to be affected by this, right? Let's continue. So the Ontario Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, Lisa McLeod, she gave herself 100 days to go ahead and develop the reforms after announcing in July that the government was canceling a basic income pilot project launched by the Win Liberals. Now that cancellation was simply once again in aid to curb the quote unquote, of course, the number of people who depend upon this income pilot project, and as well as once again to aid in, of course, balancing the books. One change that will be evident is that welfare rates are rising, 1.5% this year under the Ford government, a smaller increase than the 3% hike budgeted by the Win government this spring. Simply put is this: if they're going ahead and actually do a small budget increase of 1.5%, they may be looking to go ahead and cut a number of people who are on, of course, this disability works, or in fact Ontario works, and so on and so forth, right? Which once again may indicate a slightly increase. However, though, a smaller number of people who are on, of course, welfare, it's, who knows? I mean, I like to go ahead and actually be a lot more concrete in regards to my opinion. However, though, I, like everybody else, is simply waiting patiently for the Conservative government to go ahead and announce their cuts. Andrea Horvath, the leader of the NDP, she said that messages coming from the Ford government harken back to the former PC Premier Mike Harris, whose government slashed welfare rates and tightened eligibility requirements. Harris said that one of his proudest accomplishments was reducing the welfare rolls by more than 400,000 people in just 4 years. Lisa McLeod said that her changes will make the social assistance program more sustainable, more user-friendly, better suited to the different needs of different parts of the province. Once again, we're very much in the dark with respect in regards to which direction they will be looking at. However, though, if they are once again looking at cutting the amount of people who currently need, of course, the welfare program, once again, we are in for a tough time. We'd love to go ahead and hear your thoughts at some point in time. By means, we're broadcasting live, we're streaming through Facebook, we're streaming through, of course, YouTube, and as well as Periscope. So please send us your thoughts. Do you think the cuts will go ahead and actually have a large impact? Do you think it's great for, of course, the province? Let us know. Our next story today has to do with Justice Donald McLeod. He has a court case looming as of November the 30th, so approaching, of course, the end of this month. Justice McLeod, he's facing possible sanctions that could include a reprimand, paid or unpaid suspension, or a recommendation to the Attorney General that McLeod could be fired for his role with the Federation of Black Canadians. Let's go into the video to show you real quick in regards to what the Federation of Black Canadians, and as well as Justice Donald McLeod.
So, you are a young man that's growing up. So I get to this country from England, and I live at Regent Park, at Belshaw Place, then move from there to a place called Scarborough in the Gilder Drive. So those of us from the ghetto. And then, become law and things of that sort. But the main thing that's important for me is how we were raised. So we were raised not to get somewhere and then not bring people with us. So my cousin is here, and so she knows that in my house, in our apartment at 51 Gilder Drive, apartment 101 M1K4P7, that there were times when we didn't even have proper chairs. So my uncle had a Cadillac Seville that my mom got in an accident with, and we took the chairs out of it and put them in our house. So I used to watch television with an armrest. So that's my background. So, sometimes we say judges are this and they're that, and, so judging is good, but those things don't necessarily matter to me as much as the fact that there are times when you are young that you have no voice. So when we live in these neighborhoods, we have no voice. We're just trying to get along to get along. So because of that, it always...
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Justice McLeod. For those of us who are not familiar with the Federation of Black Canadians, they were organized as an advocacy group to lobby against anti-racism. I'm going to use anti-racism. I know that probably in their mandate they use the words anti-black racism. However, though, when you're looking at the history of racism and when it was first applied, it was applied against us as Africans. So I'm using the terms anti-racism. We're approaching the break. I definitely want to go a little bit more in depth into this story. However, though, I don't want to do that before our commercial break. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back here and here to help you.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Greetings, and welcome back to another edition of Here to Help You. I am your host, Dave Rankin. Just before the break, we went into a very small snippet in regards to Justice McLeod and his pending case looming as approaching the end of this month. For those who don't know, Justice McLeod, he is the steering committee chair of the Federation of Black Canadians. This is a group there now, this past December, they partnered with the Michael Jean Foundation and hosted the National Black Canadian Summit. It was the first of its kind, and it's definitely a feat of history, regardless of how you may view the actual organization. To those of us in the community who, prior to the summit, never heard of the Federation of Black Canadians, of course, this was a little bit surprising to us to see such an advocacy group this large and this magnitude of size that has partnered, of course, with Michael Jean and her foundation to go ahead and bring on some sort of change for us here as Africans here in Canada. However, though, regarding his case, which is looming, I wanted to go ahead and just address some of the finer points, and so that way we understand exactly what this gentleman is facing, and more importantly, how it affects us. So the Judicial Council, they went on to allege that Justice McLeod did not provide an accurate picture of his role with the Federation when he sought advice from the Ethics Advisory Committee of the Association of Ontario Judges. At that time, they stated that Justice McLeod told the Ethics Committee that the Federation was not a lobby group, and we'll explain what lobby means on a political term in a moment, and that his role as chair would be to ensure proper governance and procedure during the Federation's board meetings, according to the notice of hearing. So, let's tackle that word lobbying for a moment. Now, the word lobby or lobbying, right, is wicked, perfect, nice. All right, so the word lobby is a form of advocacy with the intention of influencing decisions made by the government, by individuals, or more usually by lobby groups. This can include all attempts to influence legislators and officials, whether by other legislators, constituents, or organized groups. Simply what that means is this. Now, with the Federation of Black Canadians, of course, taking a survey among all the patrons on the day of the summit, and of course, in taking that information back to the government, right, they're in fact going ahead and actually lobbying in this point in time to go ahead and persuade, in fact, to have influence in regards to any future decision which would go ahead and involve us as Africans, especially when it comes to racism. Now, here's the problem with that. In their eyes, in regarding the Judicial Council, a judge in fact, a sitting judge, in fact, should remain neutral and, in fact, impartial to any type of advocacy going forward. And in fact, Justice McLeod, they wanted him to go ahead and distance himself and not be, of course, in the public limelight at this point, right? And we can clearly tell in regards to the video that by means, of course, he wasn't. However, though, as much as he maintains his position that, of course, that he did not go ahead and ensure or, I guess, participate in any type of the lobbying efforts, however, though, here's what the Judicial Council is stating. Based on those representations, which did not fully describe his honors or the Federation's role and activities, on November 15, 2017, the Ethics Committee advised His Honor that it had no ethical concerns arising of His Honor's involvement with the Federation at that time, provided that he distanced himself from any of the organization's fundraising initiatives according to the notice of hearing. Now, exactly what we said before regarding a judge, Justice McLeod finds himself in a very precarious position, considering that, of course, he wants to go ahead and advocate for his people, rightfully so. But at the same time, regarding his position, you can say that. His position, of course, within a society, of course, the Ethics Committee simply find this as a no-no. After being provided with further information about the Federation and McLeod's role, the Ethics Committee advised him in March that he should resign as chair, and according to the notice of hearing. But McLeod did not do so immediately, according to the council, and in fact stayed in position until June. The court is arguing that His Honor's conduct could negatively impact the confidence of members of the public in his ability to carry out his judicial duties fairly, impartially, and without bias or prejudice. Let's go ahead and put this into context once again. When I first came across this case, without knowing, of course, all the pieces, I was looking at it simply, of course, as this brother wanting to do wonderful things for our people, but of course facing, the powers that be. Could this be, of course, another racist situation? Could this be, in fact, white supremacy rearing its ugly head? However, though, once again, he's a judge, right? And as a judge, one has to be impartial. So, I mean, for him, of course, to be at the forefront, and of course, the Ethics Committee, it simply doesn't go hand in hand, right? And it's not just the Ethics Committee who has this position. Sandy Hudson, Black Lives Matter, she said the following in an article with CBC News posted on February 27th earlier of this year. I have a hard time understanding how someone whose job it is to remain neutral can be the head of an advocacy organization, especially a national black advocacy organization, when one of the number one things that is facing black people in this country today is our relationship with policing, incarceration, and the justice system. Rightfully so. She's not the only person. I know everybody remembers Desmond Cole. In fact, Desmond Cole was the first to go ahead and comment on this. Check his Twitter feed. I mean, the outpouring of negativity that once he went ahead and actually broke this, it's a little bit alarming. However, though, taking a step back and watching everything which has unfolded thus far, we can understand. In the same article, Desmond Cole stated that I think this kind of behavior from a sitting Ontario judge is scandalous, and I don't know what other word to use. Well, once again, we can see why, right? However, though, how does this go ahead and tie in regards to impacting us as Africans here in the diaspora? Well, here's why. The word lobby, once again, is to go ahead and influence those in government to make decisions on behalf, of course, what they're advocating for. Earlier this year marked the first time that Black Canadians were mentioned in the federal budget. Mind you, we're part of a small small part of the budget in regards to a total overall amount. However, though, we were allotted $19 million over 5 years to support youth at risk for research and support for more culturally focused mental health programs in the Black Canadian community. So it's $19 million over 5 years throughout the whole nation. So, of course, they went ahead and actually influenced some change there, considering that this is the first time that we've been mentioned in the federal budget. And with our contribution to this country for the X amount of years, within 2018, with us being mentioned right now, is a mark of history. And then once again, I want to go ahead and reiterate this fact. Regardless if you either agree with the Federation's motives or not, it's still a mark of history. For them, the powers that be to go and recognize us and actually allot some funds, which our community so desperately needs, is a wonderful feat. Now, the specific allocation for that community represents the results of a concerted lobbying effort by the newly formed Federation of Black Canadians. This is taken directly from a CTV news article. Along with its members of the Liberal government's own Black Caucus, who mounted a full court press to draw more attention to a suite of issues. It's amazing, once again, regardless, of course, what happens when people truly organize themselves, right, and in fact present an organized body of work, and how much change, could come as a result of that. Whether in fact now the court case, which is looming now, will go ahead and slow up the allocation of the funds. It's going to be up in the air at this point in time, because there's a lot of things that could happen. Who knows? Maybe Justice McLeod could go ahead and resign between now and then, and everything could be washed underneath the table. Who knows? The government can definitely go ahead and actually break the rules in this case by saying, listen, we don't want any part of this. We're holding the money until, of course, everything is resolved. Who knows? However, though, we have to be diligent in regards to knowing what it is that we're facing, knowing the rules, so we can actually go ahead and know how to play the game. As mentioned before, Justice McLeod's hearing is approaching and is set to begin as of November 30th. We are here. We will be following this court case real closely, because it is news and it can go ahead and affect us here within the diaspora. We're approaching our next break here. I don't really want to go into a little bit further. However, though, by all means, stay tuned, keep it locked. I'm Dave Rankin. This is here to help you. Peace.
Here's how it works. Step 1, get sick. Step 2, set up a call or video chat with a board-certified doctor. Step 3, discuss your symptoms and treatment options right over the phone. Step 4, start getting better. Where necessary, a doctor can call a prescription into your local pharmacy. It's that easy. So stop waiting around and overspending, and start feeling better now with OnDoc. Learn more today at on-doc.com. Take control of your medical care and life with OnDoc.
Welcome back to Hit It Up You. Once again, my name is Dave Rankin, and this is Current Affairs affecting Africans right around the globe. In fact, what we seen just a while ago, that is not a commercial that normally would play here on, of course, I'm here to help you. However, though, it ties into our next segment. On Doc, I like this for the fact that, we're looking at healthcare meeting technology, which is something that could definitely go ahead and assist our brothers and sisters in the United States in receiving, of course, the necessary attention when it comes to health-related matters. After almost 3 decades of working in the healthcare industry, Bill Wilson grew tired of observing underprivileged demographics suffering from a lack of access to affordable health care. Realizing that these disparities have continued to increase annually, he finally decided to do something about it. Let's go to the picture of Mr. Wilson and his initiative. Beautiful. You see that brother right there. Wanting to address these challenges, Wilson founded the company which is called OnDoc. OnDoc is a telehealth service that provides access to a doctor anytime, anywhere via phone, tablet, computer, or smart device for a virtual consultation. Now, Here's why I like this initiative. We all seen documentaries regarding, of course, the healthcare system and how they need reform. I think we got a caller. Oh, wonderful. Let's see if we can pass them through. You're on the air. Here to help you.
Hello.
Greetings. You need an on doc? I think you called the wrong number though. How you doing, sweetheart?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Dave.
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you doing? I'm sorry I'm interrupting you.
Oh, I'm sweating profusely, but nobody can tell because I'm wearing black.
Okay, good. So I just called to say keep up the good work.
Why, thank you.
I've been sharing the show out, so I'm definitely seeing people pay attention.
Wonderful.
You're delivering great information.
Thank you so much.
Continue to deliver it. And definitely, I'm not going to stay with you too long. I just want to let you know that definitely this segment on technology, people should pay attention to, because our people in Africa, the Africans in the diaspora, are doing really good work. And sometimes, again, we focus so much on the negative that's happening in society, we don't focus on the positive. And of course, because of that negative growth. So definitely keep focusing on this positive stuff. We're going to get it out. I know people don't like that. They like the negative and what bleeds and all that foolishness. But keep this up. Keep sharing the greatness of our community. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Thank you so much for the warm wishes. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Simone Jennifer Smith, my beautiful queen. I miss you dearly. And please send some sunshine our way. It's cold down here, so
there's a lizard on the TV.
a little bit on the TV? Well, thank you for keeping me at least warm. All right, man.
And there's flying cockroaches. Okay, bye, guys.
See you later, sweetheart. Ladies and gentlemen, Simone Jennifer Smith expressing her warm wishes, especially, addressing the fact that when it comes to technology and, of course, healthcare, if we can go ahead and find ways to go ahead and merge these two items, by means, it could really, really, really change the game for us, and not even just us as Africans, but, of course, those who are just in need. For instance, just continue on with OnDoc. It is a simple, convenient, and affordable option for more than 80 million people in the United States who have limited or no access to health care. Could you imagine that? A first world country, a so-called first world country, right, as the United States of America, and approximately up to 80 million people either have little health care or none. What are we saying here, ladies and gentlemen? Are we only saying that, of course, those with money and, of course, those who go ahead and afford healthcare should be treated? I mean, at the end of the day, we're all still human, right? And the fact that for those who are in need, should go ahead and receive the benefits, at least the fruition, the frutations, and the imitations, of course, of such prestigious. That's a good adjective. Prestigious a company such as OnDoc. Let me continue on reading here. In addition, it is a great solution for business professionals, college students, and families with children, and others who may currently have some type of healthcare coverage but want the convenience of seeing a physician within 10 minutes or less with no appointment from home or from work. As the commercial was shown earlier, you connect, of course, to your device, whether it's a tablet, your computer, or laptop, that is, your smartphone, right? You go through the app, and of course, and you get connected with a physician right away. By means, it's not to go ahead and replace the fact of seeing a doctor. However, though, if you have a minor headache, or in fact, you're feeling some sort of anxiety, and you can see somebody right away who can go ahead and address these things, by means, it's something that can go ahead and assist us. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the successes. Early on in was associated, in fact, with contacts ranging from churches, various ethnic organizations, and a housing complex with over 2,500 homes, right? And in fact, this is wonderful, the fact that this venture just, in fact, was recently launched. And in fact, it has already garnered this amount of attention, right? Due to an increasing interest in sponsorship opportunities, OnDoc has formed an affiliate program. So those of us who want to get associated and involved, the affiliate program is called OnDoc Cares. The program recently received its IRS 501c3 approval to allow for tax-deductible donations to sponsor a family program which OnDoc has created. So not only can you get involved, by means, you can go ahead and receive a deduction for your taxes as well, which will go ahead and assist you. For more details regarding the affiliate program or simply OnDoc itself, visit www.on-doc.com, right? Next, keeping with the technology, let's talk about freelancing, which is something that, of course, has the ears and the attention of so many people around the world at this point in time. To know that we can now become let's call it the captains of our ship, the masters of our life, and all these other positive affirmations that we like to use. Here's one for us. Inclusion.co is a new online platform that easily allows entrepreneurs to find and hire Black, Latin, and as well as female freelancers based in the United States. They have been launched in Atlanta by a startup company, Spend with Corp. The platform strives for more diversity and inclusion in the gig economy. Let's go to the picture of Jibril Suleiman, please. I hope I'm saying the brother's name, Suleiman Salaman. By means, please don't hang me. I'm just presenting the information. Inclusion founder Jibril Suleiman says that I eventually recognized that there were freelancers located in the U.S. with the skills to get the job done at rates comparable to the global market. However, I only understood after becoming a freelancer myself in 2016 that even though I was qualified and I was willing to hustle, by lowering my rate, I still couldn't compete. This is a wonderful inclusion there, and once again, a wonderful venture, especially now since so many of us want to go ahead and lobby the services of our own people. I think this is something that could be a game changer, especially when you hear these stats when it comes to freelancing. Mind you, all these stats that I'm presenting right now are all US based. However, though, some of that does trickle in, of course, to here in Canada. Excuse me. However, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. So according to Freelancers Union, 50.9% of workers in the US will be freelancing by the year of 2027. Close to 50% of millennials have already worked for a freelancing freelancing gig. Workers who freelance often get the opportunity to work their own schedules, but have fewer opportunities when competing on a global freelancing marketplace. Now, and according to recently disclosed financials from the largest freelancer marketplace, Upwork, 29,000 US-based freelancers of Upwork's total 1.8 million global freelancers earned a wage on its platform. These earnings accounted for 19% of the $1.37 billion in gross services volume facilitated through the site. $1.37 billion globally. There's a market here for freelancing, regardless of what your service is, whether you build websites, whether you are a marketer, whether you are, of course, a lifestyle coach. Simply, this is something, of course, our brothers and sisters can go ahead and get into. And by means, with respect to go ahead and supporting and buying Black, by means, inclusion.co is something that we can go ahead and look forward to go ahead and involving ourselves with. We're approaching a break here. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's jump into another break. My name is Dave Rankin. This is here to help you. We'll be back shortly.
Ethiopia made history on Thursday by electing its first female president and Africa's only current female head of state. In a unanimous vote, lawmakers appointed experienced diplomat Saleh Work Zaude. After being sworn into parliament, she promised to work hard and use her position to achieve gender equality in the country.
The absence of peace above all victimizes women. So during my tenure, I will emphasize women's roles in ensuring peace, so that women can enjoy the dividends that come with peace.
It's a drive shared by the country's reformist Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who last week elected his 20-person cabinet with half the posts filled by women. Although the president's role in Ethiopia is largely ceremonial, the position carries symbolic weight and social influence. She joins a handful of recent female African presidents, including Liberia's Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Malawi's Joyce Banda, both of whom held executive powers. President Saleh Work has served as ambassador to Ethiopia in Senegal, Djibouti and France. She's also held a number of UN positions, including head of peacebuilding in the Central African Republic, and her most recent post as the UN representative to the African Union. It's expected she'll serve 2 6-year terms as head of state.
Welcome back. This is Here to Help You. My name is Dave Rankin. If you guys have been just joining us now, please keep it locked from here and in. We're looking at current affairs, global current affairs, which have affected us as Africans right around the world. And I like this impact. I guess in America they would call this black girl magic. However, though, this is a remarkable feat. I've always admired those who've wanted. Big up yourself, Rage and Ray. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've always admired those who've actually taken a chance to allow qualified persons to go ahead and do the work that so many of us would love to see them do. And this is simply no different here with Ethiopia making a woman for the first time a president of their country. Miss and I hope I say this name correctly, Saleh Work Zaude. Please forgive me. Of course, we're far removed from our African tongue. However, though, it's very important that we do go ahead and give credence, of course, to this lady, wonderful woman who has made history. Born in the capital city of Addis Ababa, Saleh Work went on to study natural science at the University of Montpellier, France. She speaks fluently 3 different languages, so English, French, and the country's native language of Amharic. She has formerly served as the Ethiopian ambassador to France and was also the first woman to become the United Nations Secretary General's Special Representative, that's a mouthful, to the African Union and head of the United Nations Office to the African Union. Wonderful. So, she's definitely spent some time in office. And once again, she's qualified to go and do the job. And I'm happy they went ahead and actually taking a chance and having this remarkable woman go ahead and actually lead this grateful country of Ethiopia into the future. In fact, it made history headlines that even our Prime Minister here, Justin Trudeau, congratulated her on Twitter by saying Ethiopia has joined a growing list of countries with gender-balanced cabinets, and this week's the country's parliament appointing its first female president. Congratulations to Ms. Saleh on the milestone. We look forward to continuing to work with Ethiopia's governments. Like I mentioned, wonderful things, definitely, and it is going to go ahead and, in fact, impact the country. We just definitely hope that the results come a lot faster, and of course, without, of course, a lot of the apprehension that it may have already arrived or generated. That is. Let's go to our next video regarding Malcom X. No worries at all. I know I caught you a little bit off guard there. Big up, Anisha. Yes.
You can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself. Don't say you're equal with the white man. Right. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality talk. Who are you? You don't know. Don't tell me Negro. That's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now?
The fiery and articulate. Which camera? One and two? I can't remember. Two? Two, yes? Okay, no worries. I don't want to be like seeing the side of my face. The fiery and articulate Malcom X, definitely a fighter for the cause and our wonderful and beloved ancestor. The reason why I brought him up today is in fact that there has recently emerged a never seen before chapter from the Autobiography of Malcom X. And in fact, this was open to the public in New York. For a lot of us who have read the autobiography, it was an inspiring tale. From seeing, of course, reading from first-hand account of Malcom X, of course, coming from a place of squalor, to rising, of course, to the ranks of, within the ranks, of the Nation of Islam, to in fact, branching on his own to challenge the Nation of Islam, but always, of course, in the spirit of assisting us as a people. In July, when the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture announced the acquisition of an unpublished chapter from the autobiography, in addition to never-before-seen manuscripts and notes, it was definitely an exciting time in history. Malcolm's works were previously held by a private collector who acquired them at the sale of co-author Alex Haley's estate in 1992. The papers incredibly housed Malcom X Boulevard in Harlem, display a back-and-forth written dialogue between Malcom X and as well as Alex Haley on everything from dictation to timing and tone, and as well as written fragments in text showing Malcom X reworking of key passages from the final pages of his autobiography. This, in fact, was on display, I believe, from the summer straight up until, in fact, the next couple of days. I think it will be off, no longer be seen. I think November 10th, I believe, is when the exhibit will be coming down. But as mentioned before, I mean, such a wonderful, wonderful feat, and another piece of history, especially for those of us who love Malcom X dearly. Definitely a piece of history that we all need to go ahead and take a look at. Our final news here for the day has to deal with the adoption of Kiswahili as Africa's common language. And this is very important, in fact, very impactful for all of us as Africans around the world. And here's why. During the Ma'afa, or the Great Depression, right, the Great Desperate Times, what we've lost in the fire, of course, we lost our land, we lost our native tongue, we lost our name. But one of those things also that we lost is a language. A language is supposed to go ahead and distribute, of course, link us to a culture. The African-centered scholar, Kemetu Bey, puts it in this way, that language is key as it capitulates the culture, and if we speak the language, it expresses the culture. So you can just imagine when, of course, we here in the diaspora, we've been subjected, of course, to speaking colonial language like English and French. And by means, of course, a lot of us, we still have trouble speaking it anyways. However, though, if we're looking to go and connect with our brothers right across the continent, let alone, of course, in other areas, peace. Let me go ahead and put it in. We got the owner Grant. He's in the studio taking a whole bunch of pictures here. So by means, I couldn't resist the photo op. However, though, as mentioned before, we're looking at, of course, connecting ourselves back home, of course, to the motherland, right? And it is so needed at this point in time if we're looking at the unity that we so desperately seek. Let's go into the very small details first. In the continent of Africa alone, approximately 100 million people. That's right, 100 million people speak Kiswahili, right? So you can imagine, of course, by connecting yourself, by learning this language, you can start anywhere from southward Zaire, right along the Angola border, speaking to the Lunda tribe, you know, communing with the Balba tribe, which is, of course, going east from there, speaking to the Watusi in Rwanda, the Maasai in Tanzania, or, and of course, going into Kenya. Uganda, Burundi. So I mean, that automatically links you, of course, to so many people, within the continent. So we can understand in regards to why this should be such an amazing feat. And of course, if we should go ahead and adopt this as a language, you're going to hear countless and countless of peoples now who are going to go ahead and emphasize the sake that we should go ahead and adopt this as a uniform language. Anywhere from Professor James Smalls to, in fact, Julius Malema, who is from South Africa. And in fact, South Africa, they have now will be, in fact, beginning to teach Swahili in their schools. So you can just imagine, in fact, we can now go ahead and rally behind this cry to adopt this as a language, to go ahead and now, of course, to begin the process of unification that we all seek. For those of us who are looking for a little bit of history on regards to Swahili, I will be posting up, of course, a very small snippet in regards to the history. We'll post it on the Here to Help website. We'll put links in, of course, all the social media pages later on this evening. But as mentioned, if you're looking to go ahead and get involved in terms of beginning to learn this language, Duolingo is something you can go ahead and easily go ahead and pick up as an app. There's another one. There's countless of other websites that are free, in fact, that will allow us to go ahead and begin the process of learning a language. But of course, if you can find a class or find somebody who speaks the language, by means, pay them for the service. That pretty much takes us out here today and here to help you. Send us your comments, please. This is the first of current affairs. In fact, I think I'm going to stick with this for the first of every month, where we're going to go ahead and bring current affairs that affect us here as Africans right around the world. I'm Dave Rankin. This is Here to Help You. Peace and love, family. Thank you so much for joining us.
The incorporation of the Swahili language into the South African school curriculum continues to spark mixed reactions from all over the continent. Some believe it's a good idea, while others do not think it will have any impact on the continent. The announcement came a few weeks after leader of South Africa's Economic Freedom Fighters Party, Julius Malema, called for the adoption of a common language in Africa, hinting at Swahili being that language. According to him, a language like Swahili can unite Africans, and this is our focus today. Swahili is a Bantu language believed to have originated from other languages, mainly Arabic, due to historical interactions between Arabs from the Middle East and East Africans. It was the trade language that was created to facilitate communication between a number of Southern and Eastern Africa's wide variety of ethnic groups. So the Bantu languages